Hey everybody, it's Brandon. I have another channel update for everybody. I hadn't been active in so long. I know with my scheduled recordings, it's kind of hard to tell when and when I'm not recording. I have a bit of an update for everybody regarding like what had happened to me. And if you don't know, I encourage you to go to my personal social media, even though I try to keep this platform and my personal accounts separate for very good reason because I just don't want people to know who I am in the real world until I absolutely have to. But this is going to be a channel update. There's a personal side of it and then there's a professional side of it, of course. It's relevant to YouTube, so if you're curious about like what's going to be updated, I would encourage you to skip like towards the latter half of this video. But if you really want to know what's going on with me and why I'm even creating this video in the first place, stick around. I hadn't been super communicative with everybody. I know that, I hadn't posted a supercut in a long time, but I wanted to kind of go over what had happened to me. I'm recording this June 13th, I think. All right, so I wanted to explain what had happened. So I had lost my job, the city and that job that I got, if you remember way back when I graduated college and I got that first job out of college, I lost my job. It wasn't anything that I did. It wasn't a behavior or work ethic thing. It was someone else's separate actions that caused me to leave. Even though on paper I technically did resign of my own accord, it was a pressured leaving situation. Again, I can't really go into detail about it, not only because it's not a good idea to leak things on social media and just saying company names, saying in colleagues' names, it's generally not a good idea, and I will probably never ever do that. But yeah, it was a pressurized resign or be terminated kind of situation, and it didn't get any better because my colleagues didn't treat me the best on my way out, which was weird because I felt like I had a very decent relationship with everybody. No one hated me, but no one was like ecstatic that I was there. So I don't know. It's just like one of those real work relationships where people don't hate you, but they also don't like you either, which I came to work to do my job. It wasn't like I was trying to engage in office politics, but yet seems to be office politics no matter what I seem to do in regards to that. So I lost my job. I also like lost my apartment too. I mean, I fulfilled my lease. It wasn't how like I was breaking a lease or anything. It was my first apartment on my own 100%. I had been on my own before, but with roommates. And then, of course, I had to put in more applications to get a new job, which I have. Yeah, so I closed out my lease. I moved. I didn't move right away. I had to move back in with my folks, and y'all know I don't have the best relationship with my folks. It was one of those situations where I had nowhere else to go, and I appreciate their help. I'm grateful for their help, but especially when you're an adult and you have to move back in with your folks, it's not the best situation because your parents are going to be your parents and you are going to be you. And two, there's not one roof big enough for, I guess, two separate households, kind of. So let me give you a timeline. Right before, when the NFC Championship for the NFL happened, that's when I was in the process of things getting super stressful. I put in my resignation for 2 weeks, or 2 week notice, and then I think was it February 13th, I think, for context, that I was done. I actually had a lot more responses this time because I had a year of experience, which that's to be expected. Last time, if you remember, I applied for one. I only got one response out of 79 or 80 applications. So I had a much higher turnaround this time with experience, which that's a given. So that was definitely positive on just my career growth. Again, I will never tell you what it is I really do in regards to that. That's private. But in March, I started working, and it was a wild ride. So my job as it stands now, being as neutral as possible, it's the same field as it was before in reference to my discipline. It's a different industry, like the business is completely different, which isn't a bad thing. I think it's better because the more industries you've been in, the more experience you have. It just helps overall. I got a big raise increase, and it wasn't like I left my last job willingly, and it's not like I left my last job because I was dissatisfied with my salary. Now, on my new salary, realizing that my old one was below par, given the fact that I probably never would have gotten this much of an increase in my last job, it was a very good increase, I would say. I would say across the board. There was no gratitude in it. Like, I was happy at my job because a lot of people are like, "Oh, I hate my job. I can't stand my job." And there's things that you're not gonna like about your workforce, but it was very hard for me to find something that I didn't like about my workplace. Another thing is I went from my new role, I am essentially a manager in everything but name. I have several people I supervise in a way, kind of, if you can view it that way. In a span of a little over a year, I went from graduating college, entry level role, to a manager level role in a year. And I didn't even I was willing to take my time before I started looking for a manager role, kind of, because, as you all know, I'm trying to go back to school for my master's eventually. It's not happening probably for the next first couple years for the foreseeable future, but it was a big raise increase. It was a basically a huge promotion in a way, if you want to view it that way. So there was I'm not looking at it as a completely negative thing. Big step up in my career. It's one of those things where you get a lapse in your career, like a big jump that's almost unheard of, which I would never have gotten this opportunity anywhere else. So I'm very grateful for that. And I will say this time, compared to what happened at my last job, this is much more job security. In the industry that I'm currently in, there is so much work to be done. And I have an insurmountable amount of workload on top of my shoulders that I will never be bored, which is great. But then also the fact they need me so badly. And I think that's I don't want to brag, but I am a very efficient in what I do, even though y'all have no idea what I do. I'm very good at getting things done. I'm very good at multitasking. And again, of course, the ultimate thing that matters most to me, it's a huge credential on my resume. Like if you've built a resume, you know quantifiable skills matter. So I had just moved, like I got a new place where my new job is. I spent probably 3 months with my folks. I found a new place. I moved in within the last 2 weeks, and that's why I haven't recorded sooner. I know last week I said that I would communicate with you guys and post a video about what had happened to me. I hadn't gotten that far yet because I was putting up curtain rods. I was decorating my house, so to speak. I had bought a rug. I'm just setting my curtain rods, appliances, furniture. You buy some more stuff. So I would say it's a better area than I have a better quality of life here. My job is more stable. I have a very supportive team and colleagues for the most part. My superiors love me. They think some of the criticism I've gotten is that I'm too hard on myself, as opposed to my last position where I was ridiculed for every damn thing I ever did. I was heavily stressed, and that I don't know if I recorded into the new year. It's been like 6 months since I recorded, so you can imagine some stress leaking into that, but I don't know if I was able to, like, if it came through in my voice, if I was stressed or anything. So I think I did a pretty good job on that. But the toll, I cannot condense how I felt in those 3 months and just the whole season in a single video. I don't think it's possible. But the toll, mentally, I was depressed. I mean, when you lose your job for something you didn't even do, it's like, especially since, people who are young, when you're gaining experience, and the first year of my experience, I wanted to stay at my previous job till I retired. That's how committed I was. And then realizing that the workplace is just, it's not like that. You hop jobs, and whether the employer forces you to leave or you leave of your own accord, it's just not how it used to be. Because I was trying to follow the same motto my family had, and you stay at a job until you can't, which I think is a generally a good rule, but I thought I would have been working there for 30, 40 years, and it just did not happen that way. Believe it or not, recording YouTube videos and recording social media videos and gameplay and doing what I love, that helps me relieve stress. So when I moved into my folks' house, I couldn't record. I couldn't really do a whole lot of stuff. And then, of course, it's their home. It's a privilege to even be in their home. I was psychologically going nuts, hence why I was depressed. Physical health went down the toilet. I mean, I generally eat healthy across the board, but I could see that my body was retaining weight, and it wasn't like I didn't really eat or any different than how I normally eat. I did eat a little bit of, like, more carbs, just because you carb load when you're depressed sometimes. That's like the only difference. But I was also cycling 11 miles every weekend, so it wasn't like I was just sitting on my ass doing nothing. Like I said before, I don't have a 100% perfect relationship with my folks. It's stable, it's above board, it's tolerable, but I was considering homelessness. That's like when I was living with them, I was considering homelessness because of how bad it got in the house. and it wasn't like I tripped over them. I tried not to disrespect them. I tried to do what they wanted me to do, do some chores for them because again, they were helping me out to not make it weird personal crap. It just one of those relationships where you're grateful that they helped you, but then it's like you don't look back. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. So again, not that I can go into detail about my personal finances, but I got in so many ways. I think collectively in the 3 months of the transition, I lost probably about 7, 8 grand, and I actually I made a stable income, so it wasn't like expenses were eating me alive. It was just when you're unemployed for a month, just a single month, that can really do some damage. I am in a stable position now. I wouldn't have moved into a new place until I was financially ready, but that's a level of unemployment and financial instability, even if you are very frugal and good and responsible with your money. That's a level of stress that I would not wish on most human beings. There's a couple human beings in this world that I would have no problem seeing them financially struggle, but that is something that is very difficult season financially for me. Having explained all that now, I want to kind of go into the latter half of this video and sort of explain just some things going on with the channel. I'm going to be tweaking some things. I think I'm going to be posting more content because once a week ain't cutting the cheese, and I kind of think I realized that, but also I was in college at the time, part of it I think. But we'll go over that and then we'll explain later. So the lack of supercuts, I couldn't, like I said, I couldn't do YouTube while I was in my folks' house. It was their house, their rule, so I couldn't really do that at all. I didn't have the time with the long commute, so when I was living with them, I was driving over an hour and 10 minutes to my job one way. Now I've cut that commute time down to 40 minutes one way. So it's definitely not as much as it used to be. Plus, also, my boss is very considerate when he allows me, he calls it flexing out, but it's funny how he does that because in salaried positions, you stay usually long hours, and that's kind of the nature of a salaried job. I didn't have the motivation or energy to edit like I've done in the past. It's just when you're that beat up psychologically, physically, when you're that beat up and that depressed, you just don't feel like doing anything, and my motivation was severely killed. Oh, and another reason why there was a lack of supercuts is I didn't want to communicate with you guys yet until there was like some kind of resolution, because when I was going through it, I didn't want to leave y'all hanging like, oh, is he an emergency? Is there something, we need to reach out to him about? Like, concern for me is great, but not having a light at the end of the tunnel, I feel like would have caused more problems than it would have solved. These are exclusively to communicate, and if I had no plan forward, it would kind of defeat the purpose of a channel update, if that makes sense. Current video schedule, as you guys know, videos are, in my opinion, if I'm being a critic of myself, I think 2 hours is too long. It's all about dividing it up in a better way, so I think eventually I'm going to go down to 40 minutes per episode, and I don't think it's going to be as chopped up as it used to be. Supercuts will still be a thing. Supercuts will still be what they exactly are. Chopped up whole LPs, highlights, that kind of thing. It's going to be, those supercuts will largely remain untouched because, as you know, my main channel, before I ditched SNGL Plus, I centered my channel around supercuts for a reason. I don't have too many YouTube shorts. I need to get better at that because you get so much more additional traction when you do or YouTube shorts, because again, the purpose of them is to, like, it's like a cool advertisement, so to speak, that doesn't cost you anything other than making the short. So I'm definitely going to work on trying to get more shorts, especially since I have so many good highlightable moments now that I've recorded enough LPs. I think once I produce more YouTube shorts, I think we're gonna get some much more needed traction on the channel. So this is kind of like my pending YouTube schedule that I'm currently thinking about. It's not gonna go effective yet. I will let y'all know when I do update the schedule, because right now my schedule with YouTube in reference to scheduled uploads in the future, I am only like 2 months, maybe 3 months out. So I don't have a lot of a buffer to begin with. But once I get enough buffer and have a comfortable amount of months with my uploads, my pending schedule will probably go Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but 3 videos a week as opposed to only 1. I think that's a much better. It's just splitting up the time, because realistically the 2 hours are just going to be split up into 3 parts, hence the 40 minutes. Again, my videos will be more like a traditional Let's Play rather than it being chopped up and highlighted. That's what the supercuts are for. So I think that'll be better across the board. Yeah, and then supercuts, I try to get it once a month, but especially this season showed me that 5 to 6 weeks is more of a realistic estimate. I'm going to commit a whole lot more time to this. I know it sounds like I'm lying out of my butt, but I mean it because but I can use my time more efficiently. I think there's ways that I can make it work, and I'm definitely going to try and commit more time to it, which is required when if you want to turn this into something. Which I enjoy it that much that if I never got successful, I'd be okay with that. All right, and then one thing I wanted to like end off before I end the video, so to speak, is I wanted to give you guys some insight on some of the games that I'm planning because there's some genres of games that I clearly haven't touched in a while, or just period, some series. What I will be coming up with, spoilers, I will after Pokemon Legends ZA. I do plan on doing Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. So the story with that game is I bought it on launch day. I even pre-ordered it and everything. Went to GameStop and picked it up. But then because I was so far behind with Pokemon Legends ZA, as it was like January, December of last year, December, January this year. It took me a lot longer to get those videos up and the supercut up. As you can see, I just posted the supercut only like 2 weeks ago, so it still should be fresh. You should go ahead and watch that. But because I was still cooking Pokemon Legends ZA, at least the parts section, and getting it up, I had the game Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment just sitting in plastic, and I never got the opportunity to play it. It's still wrapped in plastic. 6 months later, so I have not been able to get to that. So that's, and again, I'll talk about that when I actually record the LP. But it had been just sitting in plastic, and you're like, well, why didn't you play it? And I'm like, I just wanted to play it blind, even though the story goes off of Tears of the Kingdom. So in my mind, I saw no point in trying to record it while I was, while I couldn't record. It made no sense. I do plan on doing Super Mario Galaxy, given the fact that the movies just came out digitally. I think that's a smart approach. It's a classic. I don't think I'm going to be doing the LPs I'm listing in order as the actual order. I think it'll be a different order for sure. Sonic X Shadow Generations is a game that I've been wanting to play since it came out. They did get a Switch 2 version, but it is digital, so I wanted to save up some money to get a memory card, a good one, because there are other games that are, for whatever reason, the game key cards are only basically digital with a plastic shell. So there's literally no point buying it physically. Unless you're a collector, there's really no reason to buy the physical game cards, key cards. If it would have been all on the cartridge, then of course I would have bought physical because I'm normally a physical person. Final Fantasy VII Remake. I have wanted to play Final Fantasy for years. I have heard it's such a great franchise, especially in 2014 when Cloud came to Smash and the Smash Ballot was a thing. I really wanted to play Final Fantasy, but partly because I grew up in a too religious household, plus the fact that Final Fantasy, the modern games at least, like the remakes and stuff across the board, are not on Switch consoles. I know at the end of the Switch's life cycle, they tried to put it all on on cloud, which was just like on a server. It wasn't even like you own the game. So I really want to do that one too. Really interested to see what Final Fantasy is. And I hear Final Fantasy VII is a great place to start. And then one thing that I'm glad that recently just happened, and y'all already know this because it was like the first LP I ever did, they finally brought Donkey Kong 64 to the Nintendo Switch Online. Plus, I also want to play the other 64 games, like Mario Party. What else is on there? Kirby 64 and the Crystal Shards. I've played that like one time when I was a kid. There's so many games I want to play, and we have a lot to record. It's just a matter of editing that I can get more efficient at because, again, I am also the editor, which is fine. I enjoy editing in some key places, but I really wish to keep the content going. I wish I had someone to edit, but that's all right. In closing, I do enjoy this platform. I do enjoy what I do. Even if, say, for example, I never get successful, I'm okay with that. I enjoy this that much. It's something that you could fail at it 1,000 times, and for me, I enjoy it. Like technically I have 10 years of experience doing this when I was a teenager. This is kind of the first time I've been able to buy games I want to play, record any kind of content that I want, whereas I was a teenager, I had more restrictive rules when I was not in my own home. I'm going to damn well try to make this successful, hence, why if you enjoy something so much, why not try to commercialize it and make it successful? You can start, like, for example, getting ad revenue. I have never been able to get ad revenue, and the one time that I did, it was before YouTube updated its AdSense policy, when you had to get like 1,000 views, or 5,000 views and like 500 subscribers, and now I think it's up to 1,000 subscribers, I think, period. So I'm gonna try my hardest, but I'm not gonna try so hard where I don't enjoy this, because the moment I don't enjoy this, then there's no point in even doing it. I'm gonna take my time trying to get settled in. Like, yes, I'm gonna be recording LPs, but I'm still setting up my home. I still have to put up a couple curtain rods around my house. It's gonna take me a while to get used to this style of living again, because I was in a position of emergency for 3, 4 months, and then of course, anytime you move, you have to. It takes like 8 months to a year to completely settle in. I think that that's true. I've moved like 14 times in my total life, and I'm not that old. I'm not going to share how old I am, but trying to get settled. I really hope that this new living arrangement is the last living arrangement before I buy a house, because I have moved too many times. I want to just plant roots where, in the new city I live in, which I'll never share that with you guys, just because I don't want my personal life being revealed out there. But anyway, thank you guys for your time, and I know y'all's patience. I know views kind of dropped like a rock, which I mean, hit or miss. It's right now I'm trying to build a library of videos for people to watch, because the algorithm rewards those who upload consistently, and those that have a library of videos. Why most successful YouTubers have like 1,000 plus videos, and it's quality over quantity in my book, but I can definitely at least try to get more videos out there. So thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate it. I hope y'all will stick with me as I got more content coming out. And I think this will also eliminate, especially what's going on with Pokemon Legends ZA and my LP there, is I recorded that so long ago that it's going to be like not relevant to what's going on. I know we just had a Nintendo Direct, which felt like a year, because I don't know why Nintendo decided to wait that long. I think it'll help with that. I think we're headed in the right direction. I think we're really starting to make the necessary habits to become successful. And I don't do this alone. I know, I have some friends who advertise for me of their own accord by just sharing my posts. So I appreciate everyone's time, and I know that, I haven't been Johnny on the spot with communicating and stuff. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed just the update and the communication, if you would just do me a favor and give me a like, comment down below with what you think about the schedule. I think it's a better schedule. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 videos a week as opposed to 1. I think that's going to be much needed help. But the YouTube shorts are what really drive channel growth and doing things relevant with what's going on right now. Which right now I think it's what's on Nintendo's release schedule that I'm thinking about? Star Fox. The new Star Fox game, I know that, and then I know they're coming out with a Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time remake, which again, I've never played Ocarina of Time. Got a whole lot of games we can play, but again, thank y'all for watching. If you would, please show me your support, like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll see you guys when I do my new LP of Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.